Honestly, this is one of the interviews. When I started podcasting 4 years ago, I wanted to get to talk to Alan Gottlieb. A couple of years ago, I got to talk to him when I came to GRPC, and every once in a while, I get to talk to him when I go down to SHOT Show because he's there every year promoting the Second Amendment Foundation. But this is the first time I think we've actually had you on our microphones on the air. Thank you for coming on.
For being here at the Gun Rights Policy Conference, and I'm excited to be on your podcast finally.
Yeah,
well, we can fix that.
This is the absolute. There are three big shows when it comes to guns and gun rights. There's the year starts off with SHOT Show in January. In the spring, it goes to the NRA show. But in my opinion, the when you folks, the Second Amendment Foundation and the Citizens Committee for the Right to Keep and Bear Arms, put on the Gun Rights Policy Conference, this is the one I will not miss, because I get to interact with people like you, with people like Dr. John Lott, with all the people that are really making things happen in gun rights and keeping our right to keep and bear arms. They're all here, and we get to talk.
Yeah, this is a little different. You know, I go to the NRA convention and the SHOT Show as well, but there's something unique about the Gun Rights Policy Conference, maybe because it's all information and it's all gun rights. I mean, it isn't so much to look at the new firearms that are out this year or new products. It's not about making profits for the gun industry necessarily.
Right.
This is all quote unquote grassroots, and it's while we put the conference on, it's really not necessarily our conference, because if you look at the agenda, when you have 60 to 70 speakers and you've got scores of grassroots groups from all across the country being part of it, it's sort of, we help set the agenda and we pay for it, we organize it. But it's really what I call the People's Conference. It's the gun rights movement conference.
It takes on a life of its own.
It does every year, and you can never tell which way that life is going to go. And each one has a certain amount of electricity to it that's just a little bit different. You know, in the year when you win the McDonald versus Chicago is a lawsuit, and you have Otis McDonald, and the McDonald story of growing up his life and being poor and being black in the inner city where you can't get police protection. They won't let you have a handgun in your home to protect yourself. And he goes through all the times, the drug gangs on the street have ripped his house off, and it becomes human. You know, that had electricity to it. And then other years, different things, and you never know what's going to happen. And sometimes what really makes the conference is something that happens the week before that you couldn't even plan if you wanted to.
It's growing. Each year it gets bigger. The talent gets better, and the talent changes. It's not the same old year after year.
Well, it's funny you say that, because sometimes
it's true. We've had people here. I mean, we were just talking about people who have been coming for 20 years, and this is the 30th. But no,
But you noticed something this year, and what you're noticing is of the 70 speakers roughly that we have, about 20 of the 70 have never ever spoke at a gun rights policy conference in the past. And that's a little unusual, because once you had 30 or 29 under your belt before your 30th, it's hard not to have repeat offenders.
That's right.
So that's made a big difference, and like sometimes we don't always grow every year. Sometimes it shrinks a little bit. Sometimes it grows a little bit. Like last year, we would have had an all-time record attendance that would have exceeded this year if it weren't for the fact that Chicago's air traffic control system was shut down. All the plane flights were canceled because of the crazy guy that burnt the air traffic control system down. That would have been the biggest one in our history, and we were looking excited to it. That one was I guess for us, the attendees didn't realize it. We still had a great attendance, but we had to change the agenda hourly, because you never knew if a speaker could get in on an airplane.
That's right.
And for us, it was like, oh my God. And we had to pull people on that one, from a lot of people from the audience, to be up on panels to speak that weren't supposed to be speakers, to make it flow. That was a miracle. I mean, that was a work in progress as we were doing it. We learned a lot from that crisis control.
That was jazz. Made up on the fly.
Made up on the fly.
And that says something about the type of people who attend. They're the type of people who get stuff done. There's so much energy just among the attendees.
Yeah, the attendees are really doers, and also innovators.
Yes.
And they're experienced, they're knowledgeable, and the gun rights movement has grown up a lot. When we first started doing these, there were a lot of people that just got involved. They didn't have a lot of experience under the belt. Not only has the gun rights movement grown, but it's gotten sophisticated.
It's matured.
Yes.
Do you think that the percentage of new speakers this year speaks to new blood in the gun rights movement?
Some of them are new blood, and some of them are people that have been around a while but have finally hit their stride.
Okay.
And they've made something happen they've accomplished something. You know, we don't try to put speakers up who don't have a good message to,
Right.
you know, don't direct us for the future. And a lot of what we do at GRPC is to try to project things for the future. I mean, it's like, you know, we're not to be reactive, so to speak, about what, you know, what's happening, but to try and seize the initiative, seize the agenda, and make the other side dance to our tune.
We do have another interview coming up in a few minutes, but before we go, I really want to have you talk about the Second Amendment Foundation. You folks have, my opinion only, I'm speaking for Paul Lathrop of the Polite Society podcast, not for anybody else. Over the past 15 to 20 years, the SAF has done more than any other organization to get our rights back through the Heller case, through the McDonald case, through the Excel case, through a lot of the places you're going in through the courts. Talk about the SAF and talk about what membership in the SAF does for the member and what their membership dues go for.
Well, they get a lot of bang for their buck. That's for sure. You know, we have like 30 active lawsuits in federal court going on right now to protect or extend gun rights. And basically, at this point, all the case law that everybody uses, no matter what group files a lawsuit, all the citations are Second Amendment Foundation victories.
Of course, and we want to know what's next, and you can't tell us.
Well, some of it we laid out here. Our new urban initiative to bring the gun rights battle back into the inner cities is sort of new. You're seeing some things where we're getting involved more in medical and mental health issues. There's a couple new things that I'm not quite ready to talk about. Not that I want to hold them back, but we're really close to a whole new project. But we have some partners involved with us that haven't quite signed up yet. And until they do, I don't want to announce it.
Alan, I did have one question. What did it take in the Seattle lawsuit to bring together Second Amendment Foundation, National Shooting Sports Foundation, and the NRA as co-plaintiffs in one lawsuit?
Yeah, that's something I'm really proud of because it's the first time it's ever happened. And basically what happened is we were set up to do this lawsuit. We sued Seattle once before when they tried to ban firearms in public parks, and we won. We had the law firm set up that won our last suit to do this one. And by the way, in that suit, the NRA was also a partner with us, but NSF was not. And all the gun stores in Seattle, we had them lined up and signed up as plaintiffs. And what happened is Larry Keene from NSSF, National Sports Foundation, sent me an email, which he copied to the NRA, saying that they're thinking about getting involved, you know, and filing a suit. And I emailed back saying, hey, we already have the suit written. We already have all the plaintiffs, some of which are your members of the gun stores in Seattle. We welcome you to be a plaintiff with us. And likewise, the NRA, who's copied on this and explained its attorneys the NRA are familiar with, you were all welcome to join. And it took, you know, just a few days, and oh yes, we're on board.
That is great.
Well, we do have to run. We got another guest coming up, but before we go, people should be. I mean, it's $15 for 1 year or $150 for a lifetime membership.
Yeah, we get yelled at by some of our people about that because it's so cheap. Our logic is we want to bring people in the front door. We want to get them active and involved. We'll figure out how to fund the operation other ways. So the membership dues don't really fund our full operation, but it's important for us to get as many people involved as possible. So I think we're the cheapest of every gun rights group out there.
So if somebody wants to become a member, Second Amendment Foundation.org?
SAF.org.
SAF.org. Well, Alan Gottlieb, I do want to, again, thank you so much. Thank you for putting on the conference. Thank you for coming in and talking to us on the show.
Well, thank all of you guys for getting the word out and reaching the masses. Thank you very much.
You bet.
Okay.